And we always start with a question, Sefue, that just gets the conversation rolling, and then we'll get into your history after our introductions. So, one thing I wanted to ask you as a Kung Fu master, and this is something we will chat about with everyone. I have two questions to start with. How much do you believe that Kung Fu underpins what we now see as Western striking arts?
Interesting. Good question.
Thank
Well, talking about Kung Fu, uh, it's very interesting. You look in different style of Kung Fu. We have northern style, southern style, and very, very much different. Even southern style, like our style, been branched out of hundred of different style. So you will see like everyone say, oh, we are quite crane, original from Fujian Dongchun, and you will see branch out with many, many different style. You see in Okinawa, you see in Fuzhou. Uh, Everyone say the first generation, the first ancestor is a lady we call Fan Chi Niao, or in Fujian called Hong Chi Niao. So everyone have the same founder,
you.
but you look at it, it look totally different. And even you'll see a lot of white crane in Taiwan. They look nothing close to karate.
Hmm.
And so it's a very interesting cultural difference. Even in our own lineage, we found out back in my Sigong, that means my father's Sifu's, on his generation, his father's student, that I'm lucky enough to meet some of them, and everyone learn different thing. So we call it like a custom made. So we have one of a grandmaster. He's very, very famous by then. And you have like hundred of thousands of students all over Southeast Asia. And we get in some very far deep like village or out of nowhere, people still know him. So but his style is very different. And so we trace it back. So we say because he's a very big guy. And so when he first learned, he's a very powerful person. So when he first learned, he can skip whole bunch of basic. For a small guy like us, we cannot skip, right? And that's also when we trace back to the the oldest history from Fan Qinian. She learned it from her father. So her father actually, before learn the white crane, he already mastered four different systems, which is we call a Tamo is Buddharama. So it's a Shaolin Zen style. And Lohan also we call Ahat, is a Buddhist system. And then Taiju is the first emperor of a Song dynasty, and the monkey style. Monkey style, we have a few different history. Some say it could be from the Taiju too. And then the very last he learned from an old man, they claim that he's white crane god. So with all the very fine detail and internal movement, and then he get to polish, use the white crane to polish all the other. And then when you pass it to the daughter, and also with her experience and stuff, she do add up something too. So in here that so you look at white crane and you see a lot of snack too. So she see the snack and the crane fighting. And then she found out nothing is perfect. The white crane is soft, but they have something, some weakness that the snacks be able to fill in that weak point. And then, but in our old books, all the notes that they write down, certain person learn different thing. It's like based on your body ability. So someone very big, strong guy, you cannot get them to do a monkey, right? You don't can get them to go down and jump up and down.
Mm.
And a very small guy, you cannot get them to go, strong. Like I know my grandfather have a brother. Um, he's a very big guy. So he keep telling us like, if you're fighting, so you take a punch from them and then you punch them back. And then my dad told him, you know what? We are small. We take the punch. We already go down. We cannot, we have to move, right? So that's the way that in the old times, so different person learn different thing. And they based on the character that which one you close to, like maybe the Buddharama or the Taiju. Taiju is like the emperor. So the emperor cannot move like a monkey. He's like nice, strong, big guy. And then all this system been polished down by the white crane, very fine technique. And we even like we start with more what we call external. So you need to train your power. And then when once you get much advanced. So this is like my father always say, you control your power. So first you need to have a power, and then you control your power. So we turn it more and more internal. And then if you even look on one system, you see a lot of different. And even like even you see like karate, Okinawa, they all learn from Futao. But each of them learn different part of the white crane system. And then even the northern style, the very interesting thing we found out the roots of the source of our system and the Tai Chi have the same source back in Ming Dynasty. During Ming Dynasty, that's where the Qi Jiajun, the general who used to fight in the north, and then they sent him down to Zhejiang and Fujian. And by that time, there's a lot of Japanese pirates come in to attack. So he come in and then he have to train. And then he found another general who's 25 years older than him that is a master of a Fujian style. So he actually adopt a lot of his martial art into the military training. And in military training, that's why you found out most of our system are very different than the northern system. We are very plain, very straightforward because we have a background of the Qi Jiajun when they're fighting in the war. So you're fighting in the war, it's not, so you cannot jump around and swing around. So
Mm.
everyone line up and you march forward. If you swim around, run around, first thing is we kill our friend before we, we get killed by the animal. And so in our system, you see a lot of things. It's like, okay, you have to follow and very straightforward, just go forward. And you don't need a lot of fancy move. So
So,
this is how we do.
Sifu, one thing I'm hearing, there's so many things I want to just get into, but the first thing is that when I asked about the underpinning, you're saying that it's such a broad thing because with each generation, an individual's nature would
Yeah.
change fundamentally how they would do what their teacher might have done, even because they might not have the same body type as their teacher. Is that an accurate?
Uh, yes and no. Yes and no. So in our system, it's not everyone. If you are good, it doesn't mean you can teach. So if someone only teach what they know, but in the old time, we have to learn how to teach. And then the other things you have to learn how to fix people. So that's the Chinese medicine apply. And then we learn how to treat people and then before you teach. And then once we learn how to teach is we so you look at different students, it's more like a custom design. So that we learn how to teach different person that maybe someone very different than my body size. So I know what to teach them, but it's not what I practice. So this is and the same thing if you look at the history, most people are very know what the Wing Chun style. The Wing Chun by a lady, and she learned from the nun. And the nun actually she's the fifth generation of our family system. But you see more in the history, more than one system, like the white eyebrow. then the cousin of White Eye Brown that they call Long Yang, the dragon system in the Quinton. They all claim that they learn from the same nun, but you look at the way they do a very, very different. Because since you teach Wing Chun is a small lady, and then the Long Yang is a very big guy.
Mm,
So this is a very different custom training. And this is a very interesting Fujian martial art culture. And then in our original, when Fan Qinliang get in Yongchun County, and when she first teach, the first generation they teach there, we have 29, 30 master. It's very, very little you can see in Chinese martial art history. In Chinese Kung Fu history, normally like, 3, 5, 10 considered a lot. And in the old time, but even by that time, it's around 1600. And we have the around 30 master and generation after generation. And even my Xigong's father, he's the first one brought our system outside China. It's about 100 years,
wow.
100, almost 110 years to next year. And then with him, there's five of them, the Kung Fu brother. Until today, not only the Kung Fu part are very different, even the medicine part are different. Like for us, like we use a lot of our hand, our finger, but there's another Kung Fu brother, he used bleeding needles. So they pop the needle and let it bleed. And then of course with the Kung Fu, with the form, we'll see similar and different. But everything go back to the foundation that, yes, you will say the foundation is the same. The name of the form could be the same. The name of the movement can be the same. Uh, the same name, but the movement can be very different. It
Mm,
depends on some very bigger guy or smaller guy. And some technique for a bigger guy, they can just go very direct. They just move, scrape your power away and get in right there.
mhm.
And for small guy, we have to redirect first and or maybe, move out and get in. Unless your basic is good enough, you can redirect right away. So we can actually trace back with the logic. And then of course, uh, lots of our culture that in the old time, everyone study with what we call I Ching, Book of Change. And I Ching is the book of change that we a lot like not only martial art, medicine, everything we follow the theory of book of change, even Samjian. So most people don't really realize that if you know the form or the kata called Samjian, we call Samjian, or they pronounce it as Samjin in Okinawa because that's based on the Fuzhou pronunciation. It's the northern Fujian pronunciation, and then in the southern we call it Samjian.
So
So yes,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I know that Sensei Suino wanted to jump in before we get too far away from the founding of the crane. Sensei Suino?
Sifu, there's so much already to unpack, but you made reference to some key women that are originators in these martial arts systems, and I think a lot of modern folks in martial arts, mostly men, would be surprised to hear how important women were to the origination of these systems. Can you speak on, I won't say this right, on Fang Liang, and is there also a woman who was a founder of a Wing Chun? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Could you talk a little more on their roles and what they contributed early on?
Yes. Okay, Fan Qi Liang in Mandarin or in Fujian we call Hong Qi Liang. Uh, she actually learned it from her father.
Mhm.
And that's a very interesting history is in the old time, sometime even before we born, the parents already match married.
Mhm.
So she have a match married husband that who never show up. So
Uh-huh.
she ends up that it ends up that she go to the temple and live in the temple. And one day there's a guy uh knock on the door because it's raining. So she opened the door and let them in. and the guy bring a student with the young guy. And this guy actually a really strong big guy, and he's quite famous kung fu master. But he found out that she's her father is his Sigong. Sigong means Sifu.
Mm.
So she's small and very young by that time, but in the generation wise, he should call her auntie, like
Mhm.
kung fu auntie.
Mhm.
So and then he's like, he said, I have to call her auntie, but you know what? She's just a small young girl. I don't think she can fight better than me. So he tried to challenge her. So, and then the story, if you don't really know, like, the internal part of our system, it's very hard to believe that a story could be true because, and then when they start touching hand, she just redirect his momentum and then just throw him out right away. He's very big and strong, but his technique is not that internal yet, right? So she
Mhm.
can borrow his power, and the stronger you are, it's easier they throw him out. And then so by that time, she's still very young. I think the control is not as good too. So when she throw him up, and then the day later, he found out that he's getting too injured, so he probably going to die soon.
Oh no.
And then he have, but they are not in the hometown, so he have a young student with him. So he go back and apologize to her, and then he said, I deserve to die because I shouldn't look down at you, but I have this young student here with me that would you please take him as your disciple. So she agreed to take him, and then he's from the Yongchuan County. So it ends up that she married him and go to Fujian, Yongchuan. That's why she ends up in Yongchuan and passing down over and over. So that's the first lady. So someone called that she's the first or the founder in the Yongchuan County. And then later on in our fifth generation, we have a nun, Wu Mei, and then she's the one travel all over to Canton, and she's the lady, the nun that who teach the lady we call Wing Chun. So
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah. But the history is very, very confused by that time. And then you will see many people, but it sounds similar, but you will get hundreds of different history because by that time is the Ming dynasty has been taken over by Manchuria dynasty. So most of them are involved into the revolutions and they travel all over. So that's why a lot of time they didn't even tell the real story, or some don't even want to tell their student who's they are or who's their name. They just make a story. Because if you're doing involved into a revolution, when the Manchuria government caught you, uh, in not just one people get in trouble. In Chinese, we call it nine family. So
Nine
all
family.
the relation, so if they know you're so and so's disciple, and your whole family will be in trouble. So they don't want to tell you the
Mm.
real history. And which is very bad that for nowadays, when we try to trace history, people do research and you get all confused.
Well, Sifu, I just want to say this is an incredible opening that includes so much history. And there were a few more questions I wanted to ask, but I'm going to wait until after we do our introductions
Yeah.
because I've written down some important things for us to get to.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, what an opening. I think you can see we're in for what is not going to be enough time to get into all the things we're going to want to talk about, but we're going to do our best. Like I said, my name is Sean Benson. I'm one of your hosts. And before I make the intros of our co-hosts, I just want to say if you're watching us tonight on the Zoom live, we have a button at the bottom. It's the chat button that Sensei Dauphin is going to light up. And that's where we want your questions for Sefue Co or for any of us within and around the topic we're discussing. And if you're watching on YouTube and you're not with us in live or you're listening on the podcast, subscribe, like, share it with your friends. We love the comments. We love the traffic. We're really happy you're here. Every week, I get the pleasure of introducing the co hosts. before Sensei Dauphin introduces our guest. And I just want to say about Sensei Randy Dauphin, Sensei Nicolas Suino, and Hanshi Gary Legacy that these are men of detail. And this is something Sensei Dauphin and I talked a lot about this morning. And the preservation of a classical art depends on the detail of the art. And I just want to say how grateful I am to have men such as these who teach me, and they just happen to be men in this case, who care enough about what a classical art is to maintain the detail that makes it survive from generation to generation. And that's my intro for our senseis tonight, because it's an honor to be part of a lineage that matters. And they're men who make it matter by making it specific, real, and something that can be passed on. Sensei Dauphin, what do you want to say?
I got some stuff to say. Um, Sefue Co was born into a family of deeply rooted in traditional martial arts. Both of his parents practiced kung fu and Chinese medicine. Um, his lifelong mission has been to preserve and pass down the complete teachings. I'm sorry, Sifu, I'm going to butcher some of this stuff. So if you want to correct me after, I'll take no offense. So he wants to pass down the complete teachings of the Ing Chun Fu Zhuan, Young Chun Shaolin Five Ancestors White Crane clan, where he now serves as the world chief of that clan. We're very interested, Sense Legacy, and are very interested in that as well, Sifu. Um, Over the course of his career, Sefue Co has founded the Tech Chuan Kung Fu and Tai Chi Institute in Calgary, Alberta, where he is right now. He's earned the rank of 10th degree under the late great grandmaster Kan U Huai. It was inducted into the Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame in 2022. Sense Legacy is also a member of the Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame, so we have some alumnus here with us tonight. Beyond martial arts practice, he is also a traditional Chinese medicine doctor and T-DA specialist focusing on the treatment of injuries, arthritis, and overall health through martial arts, um, Qigong, and herbal medicine. With decades of dedication to both martial arts excellent and healing, Sefue continues to embody the dual role of warrior and physician, carrying forward the legacy of his tradition for future generations. Um, I was there the night that Sefue, as was Sense Legacy, and the night that he was inducted into the Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame. Very deserved person to be inducted into the Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame. Really proud that you're a Canadian now, Sefue. And I do want to say that I've been on your mat before. Sefue is very genuine. The way you see him on this call right now is how he is. He's not pretending to be something different than he is. This is, if you go on the mat with him, this is the type of a person that you're going to get. Um, and my students have been on your mat as well, Sefue, and they've come back and reported that they had an excellent time and learned many things from you. So thank you so much for coming on Punch Kick Choke
Thank
Chat
you.
tonight. It's an honor to have you on here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Sensei Dauphin. So, Sefue Co, let's jump right into asking, what was it like for you growing up, and what brought you into your first martial arts experience, or room, or club, or family, birthright, however you want to talk about it.
Well, my story are very different. I think most people will tell you like how they found a school or sensei or Sifu. Well, actually, like back in Fujian culture, we also use sensei instead of Sifu in the old time. Like it's a Fujian culture. You call your instructor, your teacher, or even doctor. We use sensei too. Um, so most people have a choice, and you say how you start. But for me, it's a very, very different that I don't have a choice. I born in the family, so both my father and my mother are teaching. And it's very interesting that I always joke around. I tell people, I say, you know what? I teach before I born because my mom's still teaching when she first pregnant with me for first few months. She's still teaching. So I tell people I teach before I born. And then yeah, and in the old time we don't have a daycare or something. So when my parents teaching, they put me on the corner. So this is how that I grew up in the kung fu school and in a kung fu class that I watching people. So before I know how to walk, this is what my kung fu brother told me. Before I walk, I do something. So
Mm,
on the carry hand. And my father's he married very late. So he's been teaching that some of my kung fu brother, or you call senpai, is already teaching for a long time. So like some of my oldest senpai, my oldest Siheng, passed away 2 years ago on the age of 103. So it's been so I'm kind of lucky that I born in a family that both my parents are very experienced. And then my father, Sifu, who's the elder son of the great grandmaster who brought the system to Southeast Asia. And so my father, Sifu, will come in and train me to every year. And then his Sifu's elder son actually is my godfather. So I kind of in the family. And it's kind of very interesting. You found out it's part of the culture, I think, in any country, any races, that especially in the old time. So like in Chinese system, you will take a student, but might not be taking as a disciple. So sometimes they might stay with you for 10 years or 30 years, 50 years, or sometimes even whole life, they might not consider as taking someone as a disciple and show something indoor. So because in the old time, martial art or kung fu is very important that you use it for protect your family, protect the village. So they want to make sure that they pass the technique, they pass the arts to someone is the right person, someone they can trust. So they won't use this to harm people. They don't want to teach someone become a bully.
mhm.
So it's a very interesting and every a lot of things that you even when my father Sifu's time you will see in Southeast Asia, we have 100 schools all over, but a lot of things they still keep in the family. So
Mm,
even till today, a lot of people heard about a lot of story, a lot of things, but they never see the real thing because they only show on the closed door. Even when my father Sifu come when he teach me, he normally have to wait till midnight. Everyone left and then close the door, and only a few people stay, and then he will start teaching. So, but for me, it's very interesting that because I born in a family, so on some form that you grew up in the family, so it become part of the life. Just
mm.
like you have breakfast, lunch, dinner. And for me, it's like breakfast kung fu, lunch kung fu, dinner kung fu. So it become part of the life that it's a lot of time that we didn't even realize that how hard to learn the technique because you see all the time everyone do it, and then you just try to do it. And even some form that I actually pick it up when I'm sitting in the corner also and watching everyone do it. And then they just surprised, like, oh, he picked up the form. And we pick up the move. Yeah. And
See,
then slowly when I getting a little bit older, then my father getting much serious. So he will go one-on-one every day and make me train. And then and when his seafood come and then he will close door and it's hard to learn from him because you need to have a good basic and then he will show you, right? Otherwise, if he will tell you it's too bored to teach.
Sifu, did you ever think of doing something else? I mean, you grew up in this, you were bathed in it, you've never not been this. But was there an age when you were a teenager or you were thinking, cool, but I'm going to go do my own thing, or was that ever a thought?
Uh, Not really. Not really. It's very interesting, like Chinese medicine, something that my parents do too. So I'm one of the assistants since 3 years old. So I pick it up and you're there, you learn it, and then after they left, and then my parents will explain to me how to fix this, how to fix that. So this has become something, but at first I'm thinking of Western medicine. But afterward, I changed my mind and go back to Chinese medicine. So this is something very interesting in the family. And because my father very open and he's so willing to teach because he know it's not easy to learn. And a lot of people will spend a lot of time and money and don't even get to learn. And my Qigong is it's very hard to learn from him. He don't really open to everyone. So it ends up a lot of my father's junior will come to visit us every year, and they will stay for 2, 3 weeks. And then my dad will show them. And a lot of them have they know some other system like their family system or other system, and most of them already like uh instructor level. So when my father showed them something, in return, they will try to show me their other system. So which just benefit me to open my eyes to see a lot of other system, something like, even the northern system too. So we get to open eyes and see a lot of system, and even I have a good chance to learn a Western boxing. So one of my father's best friend is he's one of the best coach in military in Malaysia. So so he got us to join him to do the full training for the national championship. So it's like 8 to 10 hours every day, like
Wow.
crazy, crazy.
We lost you, Sefue. Can't hear you.
Sorry to interrupt, Sefue. We just lost sound on you.
Is
Nothing
that
yet.
anything to do with you?
Oh, there you go.
We hear you
Okay,
now.
good.
That's better.
We lost you right as you were talking about training for the boxing national team.
Okay. It's a military team that the training is very intensive, 1 month's training. So we start to learn, and then it actually helped me to learn be able to apply the samtian or samtin into fighting, in the boxing fighting. It's very interesting because I'm not a very small guy, so I have a short hand, and it's very hard to fight with someone. Well, you can find most people are longer than me. So we learn how to use the samtian technique with the angle and everything, be able to redirect the momentum of the fist and get in. So, and I learned one thing is, okay, I call this form as a traditional stylist. We do a lot of form, or you call it kata. This is what I call salt and pepper in cooking. So salt and pepper in cooking, you don't need a salt from China to make Chinese food. You can get salt from Italy to make Chinese food. You can get Chinese salt to make Italian food. So kata is a foundation. And then once you're good, and then you have to do it without looking like a kata.
Mm.
And then fighting is very different than how you apply it. On the street, there's no rule. You can do any way you like. As soon as it work, as soon as you be able to defend yourself. Like there's a Chinese say, it doesn't matter it's a black cat or a white cat. As soon as be able to catch a mouse, it's a good cat.
That is
So
fantastic.
yeah, this is what we call kata. And then in competition or tournament, so I call it competition or tournament is very fun is because every tournament, the rules are different. And different rules will make certain technique work better. So just like us go and play game. So I encourage people to go, all my students to go compete in different tournament. You don't complain the rule. You go and you learn how to apply your technique in the rule. So you know what is better in certain technique is work better on different kind of tournament. Just like us playing game like chess game, Monopoly, anything, right? So different game, you just try to understand the game and then you apply your mind in there, apply your technique in there. So, like we always laugh. Yes, we train in the gun or in the dojo, you put on the uniform and stuff. But on the street, you cannot say, wait, let me get changed first, and then we can fight after. We can do that. So you have to apply anytime you want. And we also encourage people to use all our techniques into everyday life. And we also use the technique into many different systems. It doesn't matter what system we do. We all human. We only have one head, two hands, two legs. But the posture is important. Like even I travel, I teach, I will tell people this is very important for all the instructor. We don't want our student to get injured like we say the chin posture. Most people didn't really realize that the chin have to move back. So the chin move back, the neck hold tight. If the most people chins are very loose, so if you press your head, you can feel like the neck's going to break. And then can you imagine that everyone punch, the harder we train, the worse it get, because every punch we throw, they snap the neck. And then if you practice 2,000 punch every day, that's 2,000 snap. And that's why a lot of people have been to start from middle age. They have no idea where that's from. The hands get numbs, they get headache, they get sinus, So this is some basic thing everyone should know. You move it up here, push the chin back, hold the neck tight. So every time we punch or any move we do or gripping or throwing, you doesn't snap the neck. So this is the posture we say. So even like if you do some like doesn't matter what system, like a something posture, the something kata, we all say, okay, where's the elbow? One fist in front of our ribs and then 90-degree. So that's a posture, very good posture that it bridge all the way to our lower back. And then once we say, okay, now you type on the computer. This is the posture we do. Relax your shoulder, relax the leg, the elbow pointing down and typing. Or cooking, stand there and cutting. Same idea. So we try to tell people to apply everything into our everyday life. So this is what we call Zen, a Zen training that we apply everyday life. So, in the Kung Fu training, yes. So I say the number one self-defense is defense ourselves to get injury. And a lot of bad posture that people don't realize is every day we don't do it right and we hurt ourselves. And then in the training, like next posture and stuff, all this posture is not right, the harder they train, the worse they get. And this is not the purpose we want. We want everyone to get healthier. That's the key of self-defense.
Well, Sifu, I want to come back to the idea of internal medicine and the medicine in general, but what brought you to Canada? And how long have you been here and how do you like it?
School. School. And then actually surprisingly, I actually start in Toronto. And then I found in Calgary. So I go to Calgary. And I have my university in Calgary. And then afterward, it's very interesting that there's a chance that, to start teaching. And it ends up that I'm in the teaching world. And at first, I didn't really thinking of doing Chinese medicine. But we found out a lot of people we know they have problem and they have hard time to find people to fix them. So I start working on that. And now we actually same thing like the posture thing, right? We teach people doing either tuina or massage therapy that not hurting themselves and how to apply it. So, and then at the end of the day, they won't get too tired. They still have good life. So it's very interesting that I start my Kung Fu school since 1993.
That's fantastic. So you came
Yeah.
and you stayed and you've thrived.
Yes, yes. No, yes. Yeah. Like in Chinese, we call that we grew the roots here.
Sure. Um, I want to go back to two history things you brought up. You mentioned a figure way back in Chinese martial arts history, Lohan, and famously that's known as one of the first katas, the 13 hands of Lohan. Is that something you believe to be true? Is that through the Qigong poses, or how do you think of that?
Yes, well, we look deep inside all this the system. We say each system have their own character. So if you really look into what's Lohan, they translate in English, it called Ahab. Ahab is a Buddhist term that the monk practicing in Buddhism. So Ahab is it's kind of a foundation that they're very strict, super self-discipline. So they make sure everything is right. And then the next step is Pusa is like now you learn how to help people. The first thing is self-discipline. Make sure everything. So Lohan is what I put it this way. Um, so make sure every system, every move is very correct, very well self-disciplined, and very so like everyone know we have so many animal system like white crane, dragon, snake, tiger, lions, and Lohan is a human system. So I call it, if you understanding like an animal, so Lohan is a human system. And yes, the 13 move, because in all this system from Fujian Yongchen and then branch up to different, especially all the Fujiao system, different people learn from like same system, different lineage. So you will see some Lohan and you can see some white crane. And it depends who's learning it too. And some might not see Lohan, it could see something else like monkey, or it depends who's learning it. Like I know there's a grandmaster from Taiwan is doing a feeding crane, and he's been to the United States for many times, and he's been teaching a lot of people doing feeding crane. So I have a friend from Facebook who used to teach karate, and he do Tai Chi and feeding crane. So one day he sent me a video, a black and white video from, I don't know, YouTube or somewhere he found. So I said, this black and white video, Manson is doing feeding crane. But he said, but it doesn't look anything similar to what he learned. They all call feeding crane. So he
Mm,
showed me the video. And then I look at it, I said, you know what? The one you learn is someone that a very big guy. So we call long arm system. So someone big and strong, you don't need to keep all this posture. You're big enough and strong enough to do it. And then
mhm.
the one in the video is a short armed system. So you have to keep the elbow and everything in. But the technique, that the purpose is the same. The difference is we do it different way because this one probably from a small guy and not, especially us, the southern people are smaller. The rice eater, we call it, we are smaller. So it's a southern arm thing. So if you look at the 13 hand, right, Sasa, uh, even like you look at Gojoru or Wechiru, uh, they do quite slightly different. And then even Gojoru, a different lineage will show slightly different way of doing it too. Sometimes it depends on who's learning it. And we can trace a lot of things back. It's very interesting. Something is you only do it in the family. So only family member know. Like we say, you measure where's the elbow. So 1 fist distance, and a lot of karate doing that too. And then one thing we say samjian, I say, yeah, in the old time, this is how we learn, but the modern nowadays, people don't realize that how hard to do it. You have to do the footstep, samjian step for 6 months at least. and then something for 3 years. That's the only thing you do. And then after 3 years, so the older generation, they are found that they're very strong because they've been doing that over and over, that simple move over and over for 3 years. And I talked to some older generation karate grandmaster like Anthony Murakin Sensei from Boston, who passed away years ago, and Mario Higiona Sensei. Uh, yeah, they all do 3 years something. So this is very interesting that when once we talk about that and do the comparison, and yes, yeah, in the old time, everyone doing for 3 years. So there's something in the family, kind of our family thing.
Yeah. I want to throw it to Hanshi Legacy, who I know had a question a little earlier when we were talking about the 13 hands, or was it something else, Hanshi?
Yes, I wanted to know if the low hand system was a nerve destroying art. Was it
Oh,
specifically meant to hit the nerves and
uh,
destroy that?
you mean like a point and stuff?
No,
You
nerve striking, like severing nerves.
actually, actually not only Lohan, not only Lohan.
Yeah,
uh,
okay, but
even the
low
white
hand,
crane too, even the white crane too, because our system kind of blend them together. And the very interesting thing is the Chinese medicine is part of our Kung Fu system. So to know all the nerve, all the points is very important. And especially for us, the smaller people, we have to use that weak point to defend ourselves. And yes, Lohan, you probably thought about in the old time those this thing. They call bronze man in the old time and look like a monk. So the first design is like a bronze man, and then they look like a monk. So this is what they also. So that's why a lot of people think they are from Lohan. Yes, Lohan could be, and then a lot of old books we see the figure they draw is like a monk because they a lot of the systems come from the monastery. And yes, Lohan is a lot into the posture is very, very important. And then you learn a lot about the human, in both internal and external too.
whilst you're learning about all the nervous system and everything, whilst you're using that to maybe acupuncture, could, could you not also use that as like in the white crane to
Yes,
sever the nerve and destroy the
yes,
opponent's
yes.
movement?
It's very interesting now you look at it. The modern world or modern science, we talk a lot about nerve. But in the traditional Chinese medicine, we talk a lot about its meridian. So we have two lines and to measure with, and then they actually one from the back all the way up here and then broken here, and the other one from the front here and then stop here. And that's why we need to put our tongue up. So you probably know that, like, how we put our tongue
Yes.
up. So it's to kind of to join these two lines together to lead the qi in, to bridge the qi. So I call it a portable bridge because it have a nickname. The nickname is in Chinese we call 鹊桥. 鹊桥 is a bird's bridge. So we have a very good. It's a very romantic story. A story talking about a lady, a immortal, a fairy come from the heaven, and they all come to the earth and play. And then when one of them she fall in love to a human, and it's a cowboy. And then she ends up that she stay and married the guy, and they're having a twins baby. And then the heaven found out that she escaped and stay in the earth. So they come and grab her and take her back to the heaven and put her in the prison. And the guy tried to go and and they are very sad. So finally in the heaven, so a lot of different god try to talk to the old godmother about about that, and they finally agree to let them meet once a year. So this is what we call Chinese Valentine in Chinese lunar calendar on the July 7th. So it goes 7/7 Chinese Valentine's Day. So they're allowed to meet once a year. But when they go and meet, they found out that the Milky Way in Chinese we call the Silver River. Milky Way. So they cannot cross the Milky Way to meet each other. And then all the sparrow heard about that. So they all come and get together. So we call it a Sparrow Bridge. They go get together and make a portable bridge so they can cross the bridge and meet each other. So this is the idea to use the Tan as a Sparrow Bridge to lead the Qi together. And then same thing like I don't see too many people doing something to use that because you need to know that the 12th millennium. And then the first thing, even the first foundation, we don't see too many people doing it, is we call a five-limb power. Five-limb power means two hands, two legs, and the head and the body. So that's a five-limb power. And then we say Jiao is someone calling and someone answer. So when once we move, every move, like a very simple something color, right? Or something color or something. Every move you do, the posture that start from our Dantian, go all the way. And then of course they work with the meridian. And the other thing is that we also use the chakra. We also use the chakra and working all the way down too. So chakra is very interesting. Is bring in from Buddharama from India. So Buddharama is the first Chinese Zen Great Master, and who's the 28th generation of Zen system from India. So we actually adopt a lot of those into. And one thing is in monastery, they didn't really mention it. They do a lot of exercise too, because with Zen meditation, we soon fall asleep. We have to be very alert, very awake. So in Zen Buddhism meditation, before we sit down meditate, you have to do a whole bunch of exercise. So in Chinese nowadays, we call Qigong, or someone they, because of Mandarin pronunciation, they use Q instead of CHI, so QI. So it pronounced as Qigong as well. But in India, you call it yoga. But yoga itself means more than the exercise itself. But they didn't really emphasize it because it's part of the life that you have to keep yourself awake. And then the other thing is if you're sitting meditation, sitting there for hours, the circulation have to be good. So you have to do all this exercise first and then to get the circulation. So you can sitting for hours and hours and the mind still very, very alert and very awake. And then so this is what we do. And then if you see a lot of Lohan, when you look in the drawing of the Lohan, and they all look very skinny. You can see all the ribs. You can see all the ribs and the stomach. Actually, this is the training of the breathing. It's not because they are too skinny. So they do eat too. So this is one of the training of the breathing is you breathe all the way in, you push all the way back to the Mingmen, all the way back to the spine. Back there, there's a point that across from the belly button all the way to the back, we call Mingmen in Chinese. It translates as a door of life. So you see all the lohans like that too, right? Yes. So it including everything. So the nerve and the point, and of course the joints too. So we call the external. External is jing gu pi. So jing is a tendon, bone, and the skin. So internal is jing qi shen. So it's the spirit, the qi.
Could I ask you also? We sort of
Yes.
went over very, very quick. Touching your tongue to the roof of your mouth, could that be a way of protecting um, the meridians from strikes. Is that a internal blocking technique when you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth?
Yes, yes.
It
Uh,
prevents
even
prevents you
even
from,
the even the Dantian movement, you can do that too. So
yeah.
let's say, well, for me, because we are very small, and I learned it from my father. My father's not a very big guy too, so it's not very good idea that we do grappling, but we do a lot of counter grappling too. So when my hands have been fully locked, I cannot move. So I have to use my dantian or some of my meridian, including this one. So you move it and then you vibrate all the way here and then get your opponent to lose. So something like that is, I hardly publicly talk about that. And we didn't even bother doing videos because only the person touch, you can feel that. So the other people that you look in the video, it doesn't look right. Yes, but if you know the meridian and stuff like that, you know that how to control that so that you can, this is an experiment, very easy experiment I think we're doing. Uh, okay, imagine that we are having our hand massage on someone, okay? And the next thing is we have someone else grip our hand very tight and someone bigger than us and stronger than us. If they grip our hand very tight, you're thinking of fighting back. There's no way we can move them because they're stronger than us. But now we totally ignore the grip and relax and then thinking of massage of someone. And then that grabbing hand actually you can lose them out. So it's very interesting internal part of application. And that's why we say why something is so important because something talk about all the basic. We start from this two meridian and then all the other 12 meridians start from the toes to our finger. So our hand move one, two, but it's very interesting. The first thing talking about something, there's three joints. Shoulder, elbow, and wrist. But now more something we see is mostly doing so the elbow, and a lot of them don't really care much about training much about the wrist. But what we can understand is maybe when they learn, whoever learned those kata, the first one who learned those kata, a bigger guy, the wrists are very tight. So they don't have a flexible wrist. So that's why they only do one, two, and then someone are very big, so they cannot really put their elbow this close, so you have to move it out more. So this is what, and then when the posture is right, the meridian is right. Let's say another experiment you can do. We always do an experiment. Something is if someone grab me or I grab on you, and then you try something. So we have hard time to get a control. So I would try to use this hand. Let's say I move this finger and then use the meridian to go all the way to here. And then you can feel it. Or even we move our dantian, then you can, so the vibration go all the way. It's just like electricity. It actually sounds very impossible, but actually, yes, it's a science. It's a science. The only thing is how much we know ourselves and be able to control our body. This is the hardest part is learn how to control our body. That's why in the old time, if you do repeat over and over and over, like something you do over and over 5 hours every day, over and over, and then for 3 years, then you feel very, very sensitive. Same thing like Hansi, it's easy for you to apply a technique. It's easy for you to pick up a technique, and then you can throw any kind of application. But for some other beginner or someone not as experienced, they have hard time to pick it up. So the more you train, the more sensitive we are. When once we get very sensitive, our body, so we know different part of our muscle, different part of our arms, our legs. So this is what we call the five limbs. So that's why you say just use one hand to block or to punch. Yes, that's if a big guy, yes, they're strong enough. For a small guy like us, we're not strong enough. So every move we do, we use our whole body. So they need to have a good complete. So the posture, when the posture is right, you have the bridge to connect from different part of our body. So sometimes even like certain move we have to use our toes. So you use the toes to grip and then vibrate all the way to the hand. And then of course, talking about the nerve and the thing, our body are very defined that when once you do a small move, they switch. So the whole idea is you switch. As soon as you switch, so let's say you use the tongue, and then what's the tongue for? When once we do that, we need to do breathing. And now, of course, when once we do a lot of like Zen meditation breathing, we don't go hard, we don't go. So very, very fine. Even so fine that you don't see. So we have a different level of breathing, and very fine you don't see, but you can move it. So you move all the way to our hand.
Sensei Suino, I know that you had a question that throws back a little to the idea of the 13 hands.
Yeah, it does. Let's come back to that. Sefue, if you
Yes.
don't mind, uh, you seem very comfortable with different people doing martial arts in different ways based on their size.
Yes.
So my question to you is, how do you maintain the through line? How do you maintain the quality of a system or the characteristics of a system if this Sefue is teaching this way and this Sefue is teaching this way because they're different sized people?
Okay, this is a very good question. And then there's something we do right now. In the old time, it's more like a custom design for each one. And then now we have to do a school system, a school structure. And this is actually it's not from me, it's from my parents.
Mm.
So when my parents doing a school structure, and of course my father, my father actually do it with his seafood too, and my mom actually do have knocks all over. So I'm very lucky that I get to see all the knocks, and at the same time we also get to see my Sikong's father's knocks, that how he teach different people and explain to us. There's something that, but I don't see any information that people understand that part. And then when once we do school system, school structure, and when I'm teaching in Canada, I have to reorganize my school structure. So it depends on, well, in the old time, yes, you come in, you do horse stand, send you to the corner, horse stand. 3 months later, horse stand. Your horse stand is not good enough. But nowadays we can do that. Who want to come and pay you every month and just go to the corner and stand there? We cannot do that. Actually, one of my senior, my Sihang, when he first start teaching, he also doing that, the footstep, something step for 6 months. So my father told him, you can't do that anymore. You have to change because you have to take care of your family. Otherwise, your wife and your children will starve to death. So this is what I learned from my father. He said, nope, we have to change. But at the same time, how we maintain our standard, how we maintain our, so the school structure, we come in the curriculum is very important now. So when once we talk about curriculum, okay, we know what something for. And then to build up from something, what's the next thing to do? And then the next thing, and then the next thing. Okay, put it this way, you might be much familiar with karate system like Sotokan and Goju-ryu, right? Okay, I would say start with Sotokan with the long range training. So you have a long range, you'll be able to punch with your leg and everything. Now you run that stand to something stand, something dachi. And then you found out, yes. So you have two people who start from a long range stand, and the other one don't start with that. But you found out actually after a little while, you switch back. You found out that long range one actually is a very good foundation to build up first. So what we call step by step. I always say step by step is the fastest shortcut you can do. And then we will see every move we do because we all different person. So someone are better than this, someone are better than that. In the old time, the custom training, custom designs, you're good at this, you just keep improve this. But they didn't see like something you're bad that we have to improve that. But now the school structure we do is something that you're not very good, you still have to train it to improve it. You might not you don't have to be perfect, just improve it. One thing very interesting is one of the kata we do, we see most of the Fujian system have a very similar kata. Is that you have to go to a very low stand like a shikodachi, and then you have jump all the way up and then land on the ground. So the idea is one, you learn how to go very low, tight stand, and then can jump up far and then land light, go all the way down. And then we found out this is one kata that we don't see in Okinawa. But almost every Fujian system do have a kata like that for jumping training. And then also the other thing is not only jumping, we face 4 directions. So you train, you turn. So we train a lot of ways. And then that's a 2D and 3D. So 2D is you facing up and then you turn. So we use ways. The other ones, after you jump up, you get up. So there's a 3-dimension X, Y, Z to get up. So you flick, if someone grab on you, you can flick the body. So you use that 3-dimension thing. And then this is what well, this is actually not my idea, it's from my father's idea. So the complete curriculum. The complete curriculum is very important now. We put everyone there. So we always laugh, like, in the old time we used to, we don't have computer, we don't have cell phone, so you have to jump, you have to run, right? But nowadays people don't know how to run and jump. And the other thing I found very interesting is that in Asia, a lot of people, they like Kung Fu, they come and learn Kung Fu. They already know how to jump, how to kick, how to run. And then once we come to the West, come to here, we found out most people have hard time to pick up those techniques. So I have to learn how to put it down, dissect them down, and then to show one by one. And one thing I found out is, okay, that's a very difference of a Kung Fu movie and action movie. Kung Fu movie, you look from Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, all this Kung Fu movie, or a lot of Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movie. You see a lot of move, a lot of thing, right? But in Hollywood, you don't see most of the move. You only see the camera angle. So that's why we found out when we teach, most people come in, they have hard time to pick up a lot of all this thing. And then in the Asia, a lot of kids come up, it's very easy. They already kind of do it. The only thing is you have to show them the proper or accurate way of doing it.
Thank you, Sefue. What a great
Thank you.
question, Sensei. What a great answer. Sefue, it's 9:40, which means
Yes.
it's time for your 10 questions. We ask all our guests 10 questions. Now you have 10 minutes to answer them. So you answer as impulsively as you like, expand on your answer, and if the time runs out, you get through what you get through, but there's no rush either. So, Sefue Co, what is the most effective move in your martial arts arsenal? Oh, we've lost you again.
We lost your hearing again.
Oh, you got it again?
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay. The most effective move is no move. Well, if we get together in November, and then we'll get some time together and I'll explain it and show you. It might work, it might not work. It depends how if you're better than me, it doesn't work. So you are
love
allowed
that
to come,
answer.
probably not Hansi.
Who is the most influential martial artist in your life?
The most influences martial artists in my life, I would say my parents. And then even some of my father's Sifu, and actually my father's Kung Fu uncle. And he's very famous. Till today, a lot of people still asking about his stuff. That a lot of family, their grandparents keep his book and talking a lot about his story. He's a living legend. After so many decades, people still remember him.
Who is the most influential martial artist of all time and why?
You means my life?
In all martial arts.
Well, it depends. It's so many different point of view, depends. But right now, I would say Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee is the one that tell everyone what's Kung Fu. Without Bruce Lee, if you say Kung Fu, they'll say, is that a Chinese food or what?
What excites you most about the next 5 years of your training?
Uh, well, I'm actually getting into more and more internal. It took me this couple years as semi-retired, but I call it semi-retired. I'm not retired. So I focus more. I need to more focus on internal training, and then it's got not only for health, also because we have a lot of old thing that you heard in the story, and then I learned it, but I'm not reached that standard yet. But my parents taught me, my Qigong taught me that because they know they're getting old. And then for this few years, I keep focusing and focusing. Same thing like my answer to Hansi Legacy just now, talking about all this very interesting stuff that you can move your meridian all the way bridge to. This is the very internal stuff. Uh, but for most people like you have a very good basic. As soon as you got the information, this is the thing. So next thing is we like to promote that, to teach people. Same thing, very, very important. Doesn't matter what system we do, uh, make sure all our students, our next generation, become getting healthier, and also like to build a good environment for the new generation who can focus on training and teaching and want stuff today.
Mhm. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you get there?
Very interesting. When I got there, God say, you are doing good. So what we do right now is we carry the mission from our ancestor, so that I would like to leave this world, be able to leave all my knowledge here in this world. So when I go there, God will show me this. You do it right. Same thing, like I know since I'm here, I'm very young. I know a lot of older seafood. They treat me like a little brother. And then now most of them are not in this world anymore. So their children, their next generation actually are very close to me. So I actually, all these years that I spend a lot of time with them, whatever they have question, they'll call me. They want to train something. I say, I'll show you what I know. Something that advanced, something that I know might not be your father or your seafood thing. So, so I'm quite sure when I go, when I meet them, they'll say, you're doing good. And same thing, the God will show me this. But I think it's much enjoyable to go to hell than go to heaven.
Do you have a film or television martial artist you like the most, even if they're not great at martial arts in real life?
Still Bruce Lee.
Mhm. Um, is there a martial artist, living or dead, in all of recorded history you'd like to train with the most?
Yes, yes, yes. If possible, I'd like to go and see Fan Qingyang, our ancestor, because throughout the books that talking about the history, that how he throw the guys up, is she only use one finger and just do and then throw the guy out. And before I just like, yes, it's just a story, because yeah, I read that part since very young. That and then but now the more internal I get in, the more I believe that thing actually worked. Even I'm not there yet, but I know that's worked. So yes, I'll meet her or even her father.
If everyone in the world could have the greatest benefit you've gotten from martial arts, even if they don't train, what benefit would you like them to have?
Good health and happy. So this is what we do. A lot nowadays we do a lot of teaching qigong. people with a lot of problem, they come in for treatment. So I'll encourage them to do Qigong. The Qigong I do is actually from our internal martial arts. So in the old time, you're only thinking someone are really good, and then you switch from external to internal. So you need all this Kung Fu basic. And it took me a long time because nowadays people don't have time. And you need something really simple, but very effective to turn it into. So I actually, even like Samtian is the best health training and stress relief. Same thing like if you do like a Goju Samtian, right? But for us, we have a version we do double hand. Actually, that's one of the best movement to do. We also get a lot of students that to practice that. Just take 2-3 minutes, take a break, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, to be able to get through their study and get their degree.
Sefue, our last two questions come as a pair. Your greatest achievement and your greatest regret.
My greatest achievement? Sorry, I didn't get the second one.
Your greatest regret.
My greatest achievement that we can actually promote all this all over the world. So doesn't matter what system you do, or either you do martial art or not, to be able to understand this kind of technique, or we say posture and stuff to keep yourself healthy. So if we can do promote as much as possible, this is what we call Zen. We put it in everyday life. Yeah, the most regret is I didn't work hard enough to get all this 50 years ago. So only maybe God want to give me more time, but I'd like to do is turn one of me into many, many me. So right now I focus on the younger generation, like not just my student, we call my Kung Fu grandchildren. So like to turn, hopefully I get enough time so we can turn one of me into many me. So the same thing, the great achievement could be my same thing. Well, one thing I regret is I don't spend enough time with my parents. So we actually live in the country and just promote and keep the mission on.
Thank you for your 10 questions, Sefue Sensei. Dofa, how do we do with the time?
Chinese time or Canadian time?
Canadian time. 38
Okay.
seconds to spare.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty good. Way to use your time, Sefue. I want to go back to something you said in our initial conversation right at the beginning. And you mentioned a Kung Fu practitioner who trained most Okinawan karate people, and I missed the name.
Sorry?
I think at the beginning of the chat, right around 8:30, 8:40, you said there was a Kung Fu man who trained most karate people in Okinawa. Or did I mishear that?
I probably say it in Chinese so you don't get it. Yeah, it's it's a lot in Fuzhou, and they go to Okinawa, and a lot of Okinawan come to Fuzhou. But one thing I like to point it out is in our system, you will see even we learn the same kata like Samjian. The first 3 years we do the Samjian. 5 years later, we get to show how to do the Samjian again with a more advanced technique, because you need a better foundation to support your technique to do a different way. So it's much direct. And then every 5 years, 10 years, we learn a new version of Samjian. Same form, a different way of doing it. So this is why a lot of people go to look at Okinawan, and a lot of Okinawan grandmaster, they know there's a way to advancing themselves, but they can't find the door. So they need someone to open the door or point the way to them. And I found out one thing is because you actually look in the history, most of them never come back to China. And the other thing is whoever taught them how much they know. So if you keep coming back, this is what my understanding that my father been spent his whole life, even he's been teaching 3, 5 generation under my father. And my father still keep training with his sifu. And I'm lucky enough that because I'm next to them, I'm not that good, but I got the information. And then for now, all this year with the information, it helped me to advance in myself. So this is what that you will say is yes, Okinawa doesn't get a lot is because well in the old times not easy to travel. It's not like nowadays. You know, we don't have Wi-Fi, we don't have internet, and then to travel you need to take for months and it's never easy to make that. Same thing if you look at a Buddhism monk that a Japanese monk come to China and found this Buddhism monk, and they bring whole bunch of sutra and stuff to Japan. It actually took them 5 times. They didn't make it until the fifth time that when the monk turned to like 80 something and he's actually blind. So they finally be able to cross the sea to bring it there. So this is one thing that, yeah, we'd like to be able to get together and put together. And, you know, it's not easy that someone focus and spend whole life training, and they deserve to learn, to know more knowledge, the information about that. Then we are willing to share with that too. And yeah, one thing is to be able to understand this. Since I remember when I'm very young, my father got a book. It's back in old time. It's a very hard cover, nice. It's a karate book. And my father say, you know what, karate could be from our system. We have something related very close. And then year after year, I found out that people do a lot of research and stuff. And when I'm here, I have a very good opportunity to meet Ken Harris is and then he introduced me to his sensei, is Hansi Bilheim. And then Hansi Bilheim have me into the grading board, and so help me to understand all the karate, and also that we get a lot of you know, share my knowledge and the technique with him. And yes, yeah, you know, really want to appreciate that. Then Hansi Bilheim actually, yeah, take care of me a lot too.
That's wonderful, given the shared histories and the shared movements. It seems
Mhm.
essential. Um, Sefue Co, I'm just going to say some thanks, and then we're going to do what's called going around the horn, where we each talk a little bit about our time with you, and then the last word is going to go to you. So first off, I want to say thanks to Robert Shlumsky, Justin Shea, Andrei Sadashev, Josh Kitchens, Christiana Landolt, Drita Guliani, Stavros Stavroulias, and Emily Ruth Driscoll for running the behind the scenes, for letting you all know what's happening with Punch Kick Joke Chat. We're so grateful you're here. Hanshi Legacy, what do you want to say about our time tonight with Sefue Co?
I was really, whoa, I really enjoyed um, the good insight on the internal martial arts, the internal Chinese martial arts. And I could see some sort of a relationship there between the Okinawan crane and some of his teachings. So I appreciated that. And I will be at Capital Conquest this year, and I'd like to talk about that. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hanshi Legacy. Sensei Suino, what would you like to say about our time tonight?
Sifu, what a fascinating night. Your knowledge of the history and the development of these martial arts is just wonderful. And I would also like to talk more about the origins of Sanshin and how it has been brought out into other martial arts like Goju-Ryu, and the different versions of it that you mentioned. But that's just
Yeah.
one tiny subject. So many great things happen. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing all these thoughts with us. I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei Suino. Sensei Dofat, what would you like to say about our night?
Sifu is a great night. I felt like a fly on the wall tonight just listening to you talk. I learned a lot. I read a lot of notes. I really like when you were talking about, you know, a monkey style is not for a bigger person, but you know it and you can teach it to a bigger person. As a teacher, you need to know the things so you can help different people with different body styles. So that resonated with me right away. Um, it was so nice to hear about Fang Chi Liang. We've never had a guest talk about her before. So it was really nice to hear her name be brought up and your thoughts on her. I like when you said that you were teaching before you were born because you're in your mom's stomach, and I can't relate to it, but I know my kids can. My daughters and Sense Legacy is the godfather to all of my children, and he's taught many, many classes holding them in his arms while he was teaching classes. So, and when you said when you're born into it, it just becomes part of your life. I believe that to be true. I like when you said that kata is the foundation, and once you get good at it, make it not look like a kata, right?
Yes.
That's right. This one was kind of interesting. Black cat or a white cat, once they catch a mouse, they're a good cat. Everybody should kind of think about that, right? That I think applies to martial arts very well. At least in my mind, that applies to martial arts really well. Um, the stuff about the elbow, a fist away from the body, make sure you type like that, make sure you cook like that. That's the way you're going to protect yourself. And if you don't do that, the harder you train, the worse you get, right? Like that's a really good statement. It was nice to hear about Lohan and you saying that that's a human system. That's not an animal system. That's a human system. Very interesting. Uh, Hanchi Legacy's teacher, Hanchi Sandoval, talked much about chakras and meridians and aligning them and striking them and protecting yourself. Um, when you're talking about the massaging and relaxing, he talked about that a lot with striking or grabbing. Like if somebody strikes you, relaxing. And so it was cool to just get that reinforced from somebody who knows a lot about it. The most effective move, no move. Most influential, your parents. I knew you were going to say your parents. Most influential of all time, Bruce Lee. That's what Sense Legacy said. Um, Next 5 years, helping the future generations and becoming more internal. Um, yeah, heaven, you're doing good, and God's going to give you a thumbs up, Sifu. He will when you get there. I know he's going to. Uh, you want to train with Fang Chi Liang. If you get a chance, let me know how it goes. I'd like to hear how that
I
goes.
will.
Okay. Um, greatest achievement promoting your art. Regret more time with your parents, and that you didn't work hard enough. It's all relative, right? And I hope you can turn yourself into many versions of yourself. I hope you get many versions of yourself, Sifu. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Sifu, I just want to say what an incredible chat out of the gate. Every 10 sentences, I just wrote down something else, and we only got to a third of it, a quarter of it, because there's just so much wonderful information and detail, but also your sheer love of life and of your art and of your family. And the way that exudes is just so beautiful to me. And honestly, I just love what you said about hell's probably more fun. I mean, there's a great Lady Gaga quote, which is, "It isn't hell if everybody knows your name." And I dig that. I dig that. So maybe we'll rethink the 10 questions, maybe, and see which one people want to go to. But thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see you in November. I hope that happens for you. But how do you want to say goodnight to everybody tonight?
Well, thank you to join us, and hopefully we'll meet and be able to share our informations. And of course, the two gentlemen I like to thanks to Hansi John Terry and Hansi Caesar Bukowski, that who actually bring me to the Capital Conquest and Black Belt Hall of Fame.
Much
Thank you.
Thank
deserved,
you.
Sifu. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
We'll see you.